Welcome to www.happynumbers.org, and today's lesson is on subtraction of integers. And before we get into that, let's just review a couple of concepts. Negative 5 and positive 5, these numbers are opposite, and if we were to add them together we would get 0. Because if I'm at negative 5 and I add positive 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0. So negative 13 and 13, these numbers are opposites. I mean, I know that's a concept that you know, but we need to keep that in mind. The other thing we need to keep in mind also is, if you recall, when we were adding signed numbers or adding integers, if the signs were the same, like a negative 6 plus a negative 2, we just combine the numbers. 6 and 2 is 8, and we use the similar sign. If the signs were different, negative 6 plus a positive 2, and that's positive, we don't write it because it's positive, there we forget about the signs and we subtract the smaller number from the larger number. So if I take 2 away from 6, I have 4, and we use the sign of the larger number. So we need to keep these concepts in mind. And now let's take a look at subtraction of integers, which is a little sort of strange when you first see it. To subtract integers, we add the opposite of the second number. Now I know that sounds strange. We're subtracting, but we're adding the opposite. We're adding the opposite. That's the key concept. Let's take a look at a simple problem. We have 4 minus 2. Now this is a positive 4. We don't write it, but I'm just going to put it here for illustration. When the number's positive, we don't write it. But so positive 4 minus 2. Well, according to our rule, we add the opposite of the second number. Well, this is a positive 2, so we'll rewrite the problem. 4 plus, because we're adding the opposite, and this is positive 2, so it'll be 4 plus negative 2. And now I am adding two signed numbers, and the signs are different. So we know what to do when we're adding signed numbers and the signs are different. We forget the signs and we take the smaller number from the larger number. So if I take 2 away from 4, I get 2. And we use the sign of the larger number, and the larger number is 4. So our answer is positive 2. And let's take a look on the number line. I mean, it's very simple. If I have 4 and I take 2 away from it, 1, 2, I wind up with positive 2. But keep in mind, when we're subtracting integers or signed numbers, we add the opposite. So we have the problem, 4 minus 2. We need to rewrite the problem. 4, we change the subtraction to a positive. We're adding now. And we change the sign of the second number. This was a positive 2. It's a negative 2. Let's take a look at another problem. Let's take negative 6 minus negative 3. Well, okay, to subtract, this is a subtraction problem. To subtract integers, we add the opposite of the second number. So we rewrite the problem, negative 6. We add, so we change this to a positive sign. And the opposite of the second number, this is negative 3. So we have positive 3. And now we add these. And so we're adding here signed numbers, and the signs are different. So we know we ignore the signs and we take the smaller number from the larger number. So if I take 3 away from 6, I have 3, and we use the sign of the larger number. So I have my answer as negative 3. And if you'll look on the number line, 6 minus negative 3, 1, 2, 3, gives me negative 3. I know it sounds a little strange. Let's look at another one. Let's take a positive 8 minus a negative 5. Now remember, to subtract integers, we add the opposite of the second number. So I rewrite the problem. 8, I change this minus sign to a positive because I'm adding, and I change the sign of the second number. It's a negative 5. I have a positive 5. And now I'm adding two signed numbers whose signs are the same. So we just combine the numbers. 8 plus 5 is 13. And we use the common sign, which is positive. Well, look at it this way. If I had negative 5 and I went to 8, I'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So from here to there is 13 in a positive direction. Okay, another problem here. Let's take, one second, okay. Let's take negative 8 minus 8. Well, to subtract integers, we add the opposite of the second number. So we have negative 8. We have to change this because we're adding, so it becomes, and the opposite of positive 8 is negative 8. So now we're adding two signed numbers whose signs are the same. So we combine the numbers. 8 and 8 is 16, and we use the common sign, negative 16. Well, let me put some problems up for you to work. And let's give you 8 minus a negative 3, and we'll give you negative 6 minus negative 5. Okay, work those two problems, put the video on pause, work those two problems, and then we'll go over them. See how we did here? We have a positive 8 minus a negative 3, and I know if I'm subtracting integers, this is subtraction, I have to add the opposite of the second number. So I have to rewrite the problem. 8, this becomes a positive sign. I change this to the opposite of negative 3 is positive 3. So now I have 8 plus 3. I'm adding two signed numbers. The signs are the same, so I just combine the numbers. 8 and 3. 8 and 3 is 11. And I used the common sign. They're both positive, so positive 11. And on the number line, that's easy. 8 plus 3, 1, 2, 3 is 11. Okay, now here I have negative 6 minus negative 5. So I'm subtracting two signed numbers. So I have to add the opposite of the second number. I have to add the opposite of this. So I rewrite the problem. 6. This becomes plus. The opposite of negative 5 is 5. Positive 5. Now I'm adding two signed numbers whose signs are different. This is a negative and this is a positive. So I forget the signs. I take the smaller number away from the larger number. So if I take 5 away from 6, I have 1 left over, and I use the sign. So negative 1. Well, good. Let me put a couple more problems up for you. Let's try negative 16 minus negative 7, and let's try negative 5 minus negative 8. Go ahead and work those and put your video or DVD on pause, and then we'll come back to it and we'll go over some of the problems. All right, pardon me. We have a negative 16 minus a negative 7. To subtract integers, we add the opposite of the second number. So we rewrite the problem, negative 16. Since we're adding, this becomes positive, and the opposite of negative 7 is 7. Now I have two signed numbers, and their signs are different. So I ignore the signs and I take the smaller number away from the larger number. If I take 7 away from 16, I have 9. And I use the sign of the larger number, which is negative. So the answer is negative 9. Second problem, negative 5 plus negative 8. Well, I'm subtracting, so I need to add the opposite of the second number. Oops, there's my 10 minutes. So, pardon me for that. So I rewrite the problem, negative 5. This turns into a positive because I'm adding, and what am I adding? The opposite of the second number. Second number is negative 8. The opposite would be 8. So now I have two signed numbers whose signs are different. So I know to add two signed numbers when their signs are different. I forget the signs. I take the smaller number from the larger number. So if I take 5 away from 8, I have 3 left over, and I use the sign of the larger number, and 8 was the larger number. So it's a positive 3, so I don't have to write the positive. Well, excellent. That is subtraction of integers, and the thing that we have to keep in mind is when we subtract integers, we really are adding the opposite of the second number. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.